Man, when this George Pickens trade went down, I'll be honest with you. It didn't just make noise, it cracked the ground beneath the NFC East. One minute, folks were still arguing about whether the Cowboys would even make a move, and the next thing you know, boom. George Pickens is a Dallas Cowboy, a young star receiver, explosive down the field with a chip on his shoulder the size of Texas. That's the kind of move that tells you this front office isn't playing around. And the reactions from, around the league? You could practically feel the panic setting in, especially from teams like the Eagles and Giants. Now let me ask you this. When you first saw that headline, Cowboys acquire George Pickens, did you actually believe it? Be real. I had to double check. I thought it was another one of those off-season rumors that never actually pans out. You know how every summer is filled with clickbait trades. Cowboys eyeing Jalen Ramsey, Dallas in talks for Derrick Henry. We hear it all. But this time, it was real. George Pickens, one of the league's most talented young receivers, was actually coming to Dallas. And here's what's wild. The trade wasn't just about bringing in talent, it was about sending a message. This team isn't sitting back. They're not waiting for the perfect moment. They're swinging big. Even Jeremy Fowler from ESPN said it best. This move has the potential to tilt the entire NFC East. That's not just hype. That's analysts talking, insiders whispering, and rival. GMs sweating. You know, people love to talk about risk. Oh, Pickens is in the final year of his deal. He's got maturity concerns. Yeah, so what? Greatness never came from playing it safe, and this front office knows that. Sometimes the biggest rewards come from betting on a guy who just needs the right environment. And let's be honest, Pickens in Pittsburgh, that wasn't the most functional situation. That was a team with quarterback problems, play-calling issues, and frustration all around. And even then, he was putting up highlights. So now picture this man lined up opposite CeeDee Lamb. Picture Dak Prescott with two legit threats, one on each side, and a chip on his shoulder, too. It changes the math for every defensive coordinator in the division. Listen, if you're fired up about this move, help us keep the momentum going. Hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're pushing hard for 15,000 subscribers before the season kicks off, and you can help. Get us there. Now, I want to hear from you in the comments. When you first saw the news, did you believe it? Did you think the Cowboys would actually pull off a trade like this? And be honest, if we didn't get Pickens, who did you want? Because now that he's here, the conversation shifts. This isn't just about the talent we added, it's about the fear we're starting to strike across the NFC East. And trust me, that fear is only going to grow. Here's the thing about George Pickens. This dude isn't just another wide receiver. He's not some gadget guy or a slot weapon who fits into a system. He's a game changer, a true X-receiver with that alpha mentality. And trust me, when you line him up across from CeeDee Lamb, you're not just upgrading the offense, you're unlocking an entirely new level of danger for this Dallas Cowboys team. Let's break it down. Pickens is one of the best contested catch receivers in the entire NFL. That's not just hype. That's backed by the tape, the numbers, and just pure eye test. You toss it up, this man goes up and gets it. We're talking about a 6'3" frame with elite body control, strong hands, and the kind of sideline awareness that makes defensive backs look silly. He wins those 50-50 balls like they're 80-20. And now Dak Prescott has a weapon he hasn't really had since Dez Bryant when it comes to those deep physical shots down the boundary. And here's where it gets even scarier. Pickens doesn't have to carry the load. He's walking into an offense where CeeDee Lamb is already that dude, that WR1 who commands attention, draws double teams, and keeps safeties honest. That means Pickens gets more one-on-one looks. That means more freedom, more matchups he can exploit, and more room to be himself without the entire weight of the passing game on his shoulders. And let's not forget, Dak Prescott thrives when he has trust in his receivers. We've seen it with CeeDee, we've seen glimpses of it with Brandon Cooks. And now, you add a physical, vertical threat who can make plays even when he's covered? That's a quarterback's best friend. That's what takes a very good passing offense and makes it borderline unstoppable when clicking. Now, people love to throw around those maturity flags with George Pickens. But you've got to ask, what are we really talking about here? A guy who wants the ball? A guy who's frustrated when the offense is broken and his team isn't moving the chains? Because if that's immaturity, I want more of it. Give me a guy who's hungry, who hates losing, and who wants the rock in crunch time. That's a mindset you need on Sundays. And don't forget, Pickens was doing damage with Kenny Pickett at QB, and one of the most vanilla offenses in the league. Now he's paired with a top 10 quarterback and one of the NFL's most talented supporting casts. This ain't Pittsburgh anymore. This is Texas. This is Dallas. And in Dallas, we expect stars to shine. So let me ask you, do you think George Pickens will become Dak's go-to deep threat this season? Drop your answer in the comments below because I'm really curious to see how many fans believe this connection is going to take off right away. And while you're at it, vote in our poll. Is Pickens plus Lamb the best WR duo in the NFC East? Yes or no? Simple as that. And if you're hyped about this offense the way I am, make sure you subscribe. Seriously, we're getting close to that 15,000 subscriber mark, and every single click helps push Cowboys Nation's voice even further. Because what George Pickens brings to the table, that's not just speed, hands, or big plays. That's electricity. You know, it's funny how the talk around the league has shifted so fast. One day, it's all Eagles, Eagles, Eagles. The next, everyone's starting to whisper, wait, what about the Cowboys now? That's right. The fear factor is creeping in, and George Pickens is the spark that's got NFC East rivals sitting up and taking notice. Think about it. Philadelphia Eagles fans were so confident not long ago, acting like their division was theirs to lose. But now, you can almost hear that nervous tone creeping into their conversations. Same goes for the Washington Commanders. They're trying to hype themselves up, but deep down, you can bet they're watching Dallas closely, wondering what this new weapon means for their chances. Even the analysts are jumping on it. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler isn't mincing words when he says this trade could decide the NFC East. That's not just some casual opinion. That's insiders talking about the balance of power shifting in a division that's always been a fierce battleground. And here's the real kicker. George Pickens hasn't even played a game for Dallas yet, and the rivals are already worried. That tells you everything you need to know. It's not just about stats or last season's record, it's about potential, about what could be. Are teams scared? Absolutely. And you know what? That's exactly what the Cowboys want. Fear is a tool. When your rivals are scared of you, it means you're doing something right. It means the front office is making moves that shake up the status quo. Now, I want to hear from you. Be honest. Do you think Eagles fans are nervous about this trade? Are Commanders fans worried about what Dallas is building? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't hold back. Let's get real about who's really feeling the heat in the NFC East. Also, if you're pumped about this and want to see more deep dives and insider takes, make sure to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. We're here to bring you the real talk straight from Cowboys country. Because make no mistake, this is just the beginning. The season is coming, and George Pickens could be the difference maker that pushes Dallas back to the top. Let's get real for a moment about those maturity concerns surrounding George Pickens. I know you've heard it all before, off-field distractions, attitude questions, and a handful of plays that didn't show his best side. But here's the thing. Sometimes a player's story gets twisted when the environment just isn't right. In Pittsburgh, Pickens was dealing with a lot. Quarterback uncertainty, a struggling offense, and a team that just couldn't get it going. If you're a competitive guy who wants the ball in your hands and your offense to function smoothly, you start to get frustrated when things don't click. That frustration isn't a red flag. It's a sign of a player who cares deeply. Now imagine Pickens stepping into the Dallas Cowboys locker room where Dak Prescott is the quarterback. CeeDee Lamb is making plays, and the whole offense is humming with potential. The culture here is different. The expectations are higher, and the support system, way stronger. This isn't a team where maturity issues get swept under the rug. It's a team that holds you accountable, but also gives you the chance to grow and shine. Honestly, I think a lot of what got labeled as maturity problems was really just a misunderstood competitive fire. Pickens wants to be targeted. He wants to make an impact. He wants to win. That's the mindset of a true professional who's hungry to prove himself. And here's a question for you. Do you think Pickens was misunderstood in Pittsburgh? Or do you think the change of scenery will unlock the best version of him? Let me know your take down below. And hey, if you believe in second chances and that sometimes a fresh start is all a player needs, hit that like button right now. It helps get this video in front of more Cowboys fans who understand what it means to bet on potential. Because in Dallas, we don't just accept players, we challenge them to be better, to grow, and to be the best version of themselves. George Pickens' story is far from over. In fact, I think the best chapters are just beginning. So now that we've laid it all out, the trade, the fit, the fear it's stirring up, and the truth behind the so-called maturity concerns, it all leads to one question. What does George Pickens really mean for the Dallas Cowboys this season? And here's my answer: everything. Pickens represents a shift in how this team is building its offense. This isn't just about adding another name to the depth chart. This is about balance, about explosion, about finally giving Dak Prescott the kind of dynamic, downfield threat that forces defenses to respect every inch of the field. But it's not just about scheme or personnel. It's about belief. When a front office makes a move like this, it sends a message to the locker room. We're going for it. It lights a fire. It raises the standard. That energy spreads fast, especially when training camp is just around the corner. And with less than 3 weeks to go until things kick off in Oxnard, this is the moment where you start to feel it. The anticipation, the energy, the possibility. This Cowboys team isn't perfect, but it's loaded. And if George Pickens hits the ground running and buys into the culture here, he could be the X factor that turns this group from a playoff team into a Super Bowl contender. So I want to hear it straight from you. How many touchdowns do you think George Pickens will score in his first year as a Cowboy? Hit the comments and make your prediction. Let's see who gets it right. And look, if you're excited about what's coming, if you believe in this team and you want to stay locked in all season long, now is the time. Hit that subscribe button, tap the bell, and help us hit our goal of 15,000 subscribers before the season kicks off. Cowboys Nation is growing, and we want you to be part of the ride. Because this year feels different. This year feels bigger. And maybe, just maybe, George Pickens is the missing piece that finally pushes us over the top. Let's go.